chosen one. They're sitting with a shame now they never imagined they would carry. Not because they failed to destroy you, but because of how far they had to fall trying. You stand untouched, steady, elevated by integrity, and they're stranded at the bottom of choices they can't undo. The moment everything shifted was when you went quiet. They thought silence meant defeat. They celebrated. They laughed. They mocked what they believed was your collapse. They didn't understand something sacred. Silence is not where weakness lives. Silence is where power is forged. You weren't quiet because you were broken. You were quiet because performing for people who never deserved you no longer made sense. While they were gossiping, scheming, congratulating themselves, you were rebuilding something they could never touch. You stepped away from noise and stepped into clarity. You questioned every belief they planted in you. You examined every wound. You reclaimed every boundary they tried to cross. In that quiet, you met yourself for the first time without distortion, without apology, without permission. You stopped explaining, stopped defending, stopped shrinking to make others comfortable, and something extraordinary began to happen. Your energy shifted, your standards rose, your discernment sharpened. You learned how to move without announcing, how to build without asking, how to rise without witnesses. They needed your reactions to feel important. They needed your pain to feel powerful. They needed your attention to validate their existence. But you gave them nothing, just distance, just peace, just the sound of you walking away into your own evolution. That silence created a vacuum they couldn't survive. Without you to provoke, they had no story. Without you to control, they had no identity. Without you to diminish, they had no elevation. And slowly, painfully, they realized something devastating. They weren't powerful. They were only powerful when you were present. When you withdrew, the illusion collapsed. And while they were busy telling themselves they had won, you were laying foundations they would never see coming. Self-respect became your language. Discernment became your instinct. Boundaries became your shield. They thought they buried you. They forgot something ancient. Burial is how seeds are planted. Every lie they told fed your roots. Every betrayal deepened your strength. Every isolation refined your vision. Pressure didn't crush you, it shaped you. Darkness didn't break you. It taught you how to see. And now, you're emerging. Not loud, not vengeful, not desperate to prove anything. Just solid, centered, unmovable. Your presence unsettles them now, because it carries something they can't imitate. Peace. And nothing terrifies broken people more than someone they can no longer disturb. They look at you and feel the weight of everything they sacrificed. Their integrity, their honor, their humanity, all to destroy someone who was never their enemy. They went low trying to bring you down, and you went high by choosing yourself. That's the part that breaks them. You didn't fight back. You didn't expose them. You didn't seek revenge. You simply became untouchable, and now your silence is louder than any defense ever could be. Because it didn't end you, it transformed you, and the version of you standing now is the one they never prepared for. You rewrote your values, redefined your boundaries, elevated your standards, stripped away the need for approval. You learned how to move without announcing, build without permission, win without witnesses, and that terrified them. Because manipulators need reaction. They need drama. They need your attention to feel powerful, but you gave them nothing. No anger to feed on, no tears to weaponize, no explanations to twist. Just distance, just silence, just self-command. And in that absence, their control collapsed. Because the moment you stopped reacting, you stopped being accessible, and access was the only power they ever had. Just the sound of you walking away into evolution. No speeches, no announcements, no dramatic exits. Just footsteps fading into a future they no longer had access to. And in that quiet, something ruptured. That silence created a void they couldn't fill. Without you to provoke, they had no stage. Without you to resist, they had no battle. Without you to destabilize, they had no mission, no purpose, no target, no identity. They had built their entire sense of self around opposition to you. around monitoring your moods, around predicting your reactions, around engineering your emotions. You were the reference point. Your pain gave them relevance. Your confusion gave them authority. Your reactions gave them power. And then, you disappeared. Not physically, energetically. You stopped vibrating on the frequency where they could reach you. And that's when it happened. They didn't lose control of you, they lost relevance. And for someone whose entire identity depends on influence, irrelevance is annihilation. Nothing wounds manipulators more than indifference. Anger still connects, pain still feeds them, confrontation still gives them presence. But indifference erases them. They built their entire identity around controlling your emotions, affecting your spirit, moving your energy. They memorized your triggers, studied your vulnerabilities, learned which words could destabilize you, which silences could punish you, which gestures could pull you back. They thought they knew you, but what they never studied was who you would become without them. When you went silent, you didn't confuse them, you dismantled them, because suddenly, their strategy stopped working. The messages didn't land, the gossip didn't reach you, the manipulation found no entry point. They tried provoking, no response. They tried baiting, no reaction. They tried rewriting narratives, no effect. And slowly, panic replaced confidence, because for the first time they couldn't locate you emotionally. They didn't know if you were hurt, or healing, or rising, or forgetting them entirely. And that uncertainty drove them into obsession. They replayed old conversations, analyzed past moments, searched for cracks that no longer existed, because here's the truth they couldn't accept. Their power never came from strength. It came from access. Access to your thoughts, access to your feelings, access to your self-doubt. And when you closed that door, everything they built collapsed. They realized something horrifying. They were never in control of themselves, only of you. And without you to manage, they were empty. No center, no stability, no identity beneath the manipulation, just fear. Fear of being ordinary, fear of being exposed, fear of being irrelevant. You didn't just walk away. You removed the mirror they used to feel important, and now they're left staring at themselves. No role to play, no mask to hide behind, no opponent to define them, just the echo of who they became, trying to own someone who was never meant to be owned. That's why your indifference hurts more than any confrontation ever could, because anger says, you still matter. Pain says, you still affect me. Fighting says, you're still important. But silence says, you no longer exist in my inner world, and that is the deepest erasure there is. You didn't defeat them. You outgrew the dimension where they had power. And now they're stuck in a version of themselves that only made sense when you were still there to control. That's why your absence is unbearable, because you didn't just leave. You took their relevance with you, and nothing terrifies manipulators more than realizing they were never powerful. They were only attached, and attachment is not power, it's dependency. And you are no longer the source. And while they were throwing dirt on what they thought was your grave, you were underground, becoming something unstoppable. They mistook your stillness for surrender, your retreat for collapse, your silence for defeat. They didn't realize they were standing over sacred ground, because beneath the surface, something rare was forming. Self-respect was rebuilding your spine. Discernment was sharpening your vision. Clarity was dissolving every illusion. Boundaries were hardening into law. Not walls made of fear, but gates made of wisdom. They meant burial. They forgot something ancient. Burial is how planting happens. Every lie they told fed your roots. Every betrayal deepened your reach. Every abandonment strengthened your foundation. What they called destruction was incubation. Pressure taught you patience. Darkness taught you depth. Silence taught you sovereignty. They aimed to end you. They positioned you, because while they were celebrating your disappearance, you were mastering something they never learned: how to stand alone without breaking, how to trust yourself without validation, how to become ungovernable. And then you emerged, Not loud, not fragile, not seeking permission, but grounded, centered, anchored in something they could never steal. And suddenly, they couldn't breathe around you. Your presence unsettled rooms you hadn't spoken in. Your calm disrupted dynamics you no longer participated in. Your energy exposed truths no one was ready to face. Your growth revealed their stagnation. Your discipline highlighted their disorder. Your evolution mirrored everything they were too afraid to become. They began whispering your name in rooms you will never enter again, not in admiration, in disbelief, because your silence didn't destroy you. It created a version of you manipulation can't touch, control can't reach, and diminishment can't affect. A version that no longer flinches, no longer chases, no longer explains. And now the weight is crushing them, because here's the truth they cannot escape. They didn't betray you because you were weak. They betrayed you because your strength was a mirror they could not survive. Every time you chose integrity while they chose shortcuts, you reminded them of what they abandoned. Every time you held character while they compromised theirs, you exposed the cost of their decisions. You didn't threaten them with power, you threatened them with truth. And people don't attack what is fragile. They attack what reveals them. So they tried to break the mirror, and instead, they built the crown you're wearing now. Every time you held integrity while they compromised theirs, you became a mirror they couldn't stand to look at. So they tried to break the mirror. They lied. They turned people against you. They smiled in your face while sharpening knives behind your back. And with every betrayal, they were bankrupting something they didn't know they had. Soul integrity. Power taken through deception comes with interest, and it always collects. In sleepless nights, in hollow relationships, in consequences that don't announce themselves, but arrive anyway. They're learning too late. You can't rise by pushing someone else down. Real power doesn't need to destroy. It doesn't need to lie. It doesn't need to betray. And now comes the poetry. They laughed at your struggle, mocked your healing, judged your isolation. But they didn't realize they were laughing at the curriculum waiting for them. You were going through fire that transforms. They're going through fire that exposes. You built humility. They built ego. You built foundation. They built image. Now their performance is collapsing, and the comparison is devastating. You're not trying to compete. You're not proving anything. You're simply being yourself and naturally excelling. While they exhaust themselves maintaining masks, you move in truth, and everyone sees the difference. In the quiet moments, that's where the shame lives. They replay conversations. Remember when you were genuine and they were fake, when you defended them and they were plotting against you. They rehearse apologies that will never be spoken, explanations that explain nothing, because what they did can't be justified. They destroyed something irreplaceable, not just a person, a connection they'll never find again, a loyalty they'll never replace, a depth they'll never duplicate. And now they're surrounded by exactly what they chose. Shallow bonds, conditional loyalty, people who will betray them the same way they betrayed you. They feel the absence now, and it's permanent. You left with your value. They stayed with their patterns, and the difference is undeniable. Anger didn't fuel your rise. Revenge wasn't your motivation. Freedom was. You reclaimed your life, your purpose, your crown, not to prove them wrong, but to honor yourself. And now comes the final contrast. They're trapped in regret. You're expanding in purpose. They're repeating cycles. You're ascending in spirals. They're haunted by who they became. You're proud of who you survived into. They scroll past your life and feel the weight of their emptiness. They watch your peace and remember the chaos they created. And the gap keeps widening. Every day you rise higher. Every day they sink deeper. And perhaps the hardest truth of all, they didn't just lose you. They lost the chance to evolve with you. They lost access to witnessing your greatness from close range. They lost the last warning the universe sent them. Your silence wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. Your struggle wasn't failure, it was preparation. Your burial wasn't death, it was planting. And your resurrection, that's the story only you could write. Not about how they brought you down, but about how low they fell trying, and how high you rose anyway. You won by becoming more. They lost by becoming less. And everyone knows. And here's the truth that ends it all. You didn't survive to prove them wrong. You survived to become unstoppable. They live with regret. You live in purpose. They fell trying to break you. You rose by choosing yourself, and that's the part they'll never recover from. Please subscribe to this channel for more.